Welcome back to another video. So today we will be installing an exhaust on the Focus ST. This is a video I've wanted to do for a while, as we've had the exhaust for a couple weeks now, a few weeks actually. Just haven't had the time because we're in the middle of doing a deck build, above ground pool, the weather's been kind of crappy, and all those things have kind of come into play. So we got ourselves an AWE touring exhaust, no resonator. We got this off Facebook Marketplace, and I've been keeping my eye out for basically Focus parts in general as they come, but this was certainly a sweet find, and I cannot wait to get this on. So we're dealing with some limited space in the garage, still enough room to make this all work, as we have the pool and all of its accessories right here kind of shoved on the side. So I'm hoping I can get this installed sooner than later, but for now we'll just deal with the mess there, and we'll try to get this bad boy installed. Simply just jack up the car, we'll get underneath, get the exhaust installed, and then if there's still enough daytime out, maybe we'll take it for a quick rip and a sound bite. Coming up for the truck, I have reached out to my tuner because I want a different tune. I'm having a little bit of a rough shift between 7th and 8th speed on the transmission. It's a little bit clunky. It still performs like it still goes really fast, but I asked him if he can try to clean that up a little bit. So I've got the truck returned back to the stock tune, and when he sends me the tune, I'll make a video going over all that, how you get the tune from basically an email onto your tuner and then install, basically download it to your truck's ECU, PCM, BCM, and all that kind of stuff. Whatever's required when you're downloading a tune onto your truck. So stay tuned for that video. Hopefully that will happen in the near future. And let's get right into this guy right here. So we're gonna start off by jacking the car up, and this is a really neat jack that I have. It's called a black jack, and it's really good for both my truck and my car because it's got the low profile, so you can get like right underneath a lowered car essentially. And then if you want, you just basically swap this out. You put this in, drops in like that, and there's different height settings on this thing. I just have a bolt in there for now because I lost the bolt that it came with. And then I can use this on my truck as well, and I get more than enough height for all my tire changes and all that kind of stuff. Change out my entire suspension, front and back, with my truck. So it works very well. But today we'll be using obviously the lower guy, so that guy can stay there. Put this on, and the goal for lifting this Focus is we want to get right on the pinch welds. So on these cars, oh sorry, cameras. And I don't know if you can see it in the video. Yes, there's this little arrow here, and this arrow indicates this is where you want to jack it up. So not obviously on this part, but you want to go on the pinch welds behind it, and then the same for the front here. There's also an arrow. I can't really get under there enough. There we go. There's an arrow right here as well, and indicating like this is where you should put basically your jacks actually to support the car. But you can go just beside it to jack the car up itself. Pretty happy that I ain't going anywhere. So our objective is to take those two bolts off and then make sure we take off any sort of supports along the way, and then we'll try to rip this whole kind of bad boy out. Sorry if the camera's going all flippy on you guys there, but so I will push the camera down and we'll try to get these bolts out. And this guy is gonna be stubborn, unfortunately. Well, I can get a Sawzall in there, that's good news. There we go. All right, so it's unfortunate we had to cut the bolts, not a big deal though. The gasket's pretty mangled, but we came prepared. We got the new gasket, and I got a couple extra bolts here. That will work perfectly. So I'm gonna work on getting the old exhaust out of there now. Just take off the hangers and rip it out from the back here. And I'm gonna have to cut the elbow off over the axle, with the Sawzall again to get the rest of the stock exhaust out. Like this exhaust here has the joiner right here so that you don't have to, you can just connect it there, but we're gonna have to cut the exhaust right over the axle there, and then we'll rip everything out. Oh no, my battery's gonna die. There we go. All right, so there's one hanger right above me here. I should actually get my glasses on. Try to rip it off here. There we go. Okay. So now that that's off, hopefully I can just kind of finagle this out of here nicely. Okay, that side is being a little difficult, so let's just take this part out here and then we'll work our way, try to push it back. So usually if you use a flat head, you can kind of work your way out here. Generally, it's easy when you're in a spot like this. When you're underneath your cart, and then we can see that our pipe is right there, so we have to work, or at least try to work the rest of that, out right there. I'm really tempted just to cut the whole thing. And there we go. All right, so there's our OEM exhaust, and it's just in rough shape, so I had no issue just cutting it. If you guys ever want to resell your vehicle, maybe keep this in good condition, and then you can put it back on. Make sure you make an easy cut for yourself so you can weld it. But you can just see the difference, like the difference in piping. Like it's just, pull this off and put it side by side. Like you can just look how much bigger that is. That is ridiculous. I'm very excited to hear how this sounds compared to this straw. Quite the difference. So let's figure out what we need to do. There's a joint here and there's a joint here. So I think we'll start off by, we'll hang the muffler, I think, and then we'll get this piece on and then this piece on, I think. And then we'll start with the middle piece. We're gonna try to put this right through here. There we go. Okay, hopefully you guys can kind of see that. So we got over the suspension and we just have to clip it into this guy right here. So let's try and do that. And there we go. Easy peasy. We're gonna start off by getting this end up here. I apologize if I bump the camera while putting this up, but so let's just get the one side in for now. So we'll leave them kind of loose for now until we get everything nicely tightened up and straightened. You know, it's always a little harder. It takes twice as long to film and install things, and then obviously not having a cameraman and whatnot. So we'll try to slide this guy into here. Okay, so that is pretty good so far. So let's go back to the back of side of the exhaust, tighten that up, and then we'll see how straight everything is. Okay, so we have the one clamp here still to do. There we go. And then we'll put it back in the clamp. Perfect, there you have that. So now is this seated all the way in? Usually you can kind of feel it. We'll take a flat head here. This might be too big. We'll Try to just slide it down the ribs and see if there's any. Nope, it's the exhaust is all the way seated in there. I like using ratchet for this kind of stuff. Then you can really fill it out, and you're not snapping bolts like I did there. Because impacts are just sometimes hard to tell when you're getting real tight because you can't feel it. All right, so I'm gonna keep the camera right here, and I'm gonna put my microphone right here as well by the camera. That way it'll dampen it should pick up the sound quite nicely. Couple rev up soon. Let's let it warm up a little bit. That sounds amazing. That sounds unreal. A little bit of turbo whistle, a little bit of crackling in the background. That sounds great. Can't wait to hear what it sounds like inside the cab. Hopefully there's not a lot of droning. But first little taste, I'm liking that a lot. So let's get the car lowered up here. We'll get it on the ground. Of course it started raining right now, which sucks. But let's take it for a quick rep. So I got the car out of the garage. We're on a secluded road here. We're gonna do a couple pulls. We'll do something a little bit easier. This is kind of just all cabin noise, no windows open, none of that stuff. And driving here, perfect, guys. There's no drone, there's nothing. Like it's loud when you want it to be, and it's very quiet when you need it to be. When I'm going 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, there's nothing. There's no drone. You can hear passengers, hear your music. Your kids aren't gonna have bleeding ears, girlfriend, wife, or anything like that. It's perfect. So I'm like super happy already with this exhaust. AWE touring with no resonator, just a straight pipe right to the muffler, as you guys saw from the install. And yeah, really happy. So let's do a couple pulls here. This will be kind of a lighter pull, nothing too aggressive, but maybe, you know, a little bit more than your average stop sign pull. That's really good. So let's turn the car around here, and then we'll do something a little bit more aggressive. We'll go 100% on this one. So that was about an 80 mile per hour pull. Seatbelt dinging, that's good, eh? Doing 80 miles per hour with no seatbelt on. And then we just hit the gravel road. Let me turn around here. And then what I'll do is I'll put the camera on the outside of the car so you guys can really hear what she sounds like. So there was a couple pulls right there from inside the vehicle and the one shot outside the vehicle, and yeah, I'm quite happy with this. It sounds phenomenal. It doesn't sound raspy, tinny, none of that stuff. It sounds throaty. It sounds expensive. Like you didn't just cheap out and straight pipe your car. And I know the AWE is on the pricier side for exhaust, but man, it's definitely worth it. I know everyone always tries to find like a workaround rather than having to spend a lot of money on exhaust, and there's some things where you can cheap out on. I'm guilty of it, like very much so, but this exhaust is worth every penny. It sounds fantastic, and me being 32 years old, it doesn't sound like I'm just a racer boy coming down the street. So it's got a very nice tone to it, and then you got that little bit of a backfire, not backfire, but the crackling when you shift, and just overall sounds really good. Yeah, guys, really happy with the exhaust. Once it's too hot right now. Once it cools down, I will have to straighten the tips out a little bit. I don't know if you can tell from the video here, but they are off a bit and they do stick out a little bit too much for my liking. So I will try to get them a little bit more flush with the bumper. And then this one here sticks out a little bit too far. I don't know if you can really tell. So it'll most likely be me loosening off the coupling and then trying to just turn the exhaust a little bit, get them even, and then loosening up the tips and then getting them sucked in a little bit. So very happy with that, you guys. Like I said, it sounds really good, and I was ripping it through town a little bit there. And when you're kind of hung up in like second gear, third gear, you can really hear it crackling, all that stuff. It just sounds like really good, and it's not too loud. Even on like idle, like when I just rolled into the garage here, it was quite quiet. So it's just a perfect combination of like quiet and then loud when you want it to be. So very happy, you guys. AWE, you guys did a good job. This is not a sponsored video by any means, but AWE did a very good job on this exhaust. It looks very nice, and the quality is really good. It should hold up for the years to come. So that's it for this video, you guys. I can't wait to edit it to see how janky everything is when I was trying to film it all. Hopefully it all makes sense. Hopefully it was pretty straightforward for the most part, because it is pretty straightforward. The hardest part, honestly, is gonna be taking your stock exhaust off to put this guy on. So that's something that you'll have to figure out on your own. Hopefully your bolts aren't rusted like mine were. I was lucky enough that I was able to loosen off just enough to get a bit of a gap in there and then cut it with the Sawzall. But yeah, and then just trying to get the stock exhaust out as it's like fitted in there in one piece. So you have to cut it somewhere, and you guys will kind of have to figure that out. So hopefully it's fairly straightforward. And thank you guys for being here. If you like what you see and you're excited about the other content we put out on the rest of Raptor series as well as our truck, make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment if you have any questions. But guys, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.